Feeling stressed out? Feeling like life is leaving you behind? Well, be sure to get out there in nature and smell those flowers. Well, they may not be roses, but they're still flowers. In fact, I like them better than roses. Roses are shit. I like these kind of flowers because you know how it is. When you have the right kind of flower, I don't feel as much stress.
This is Charles Reed. He's a paraplegic. He went from being the accused in this sad story to becoming the true victim, and we have law enforcement to thank for it. And this fine fella, well, this is the hero of the story. His name's Officer Marcanele Bellotti or whatever, College Park, Georgia Police Department. He's a hero because he's the one who put the screws to an innocent man, meaning Charles Reed. What we will learn about Officer Bellotti as we go through this story is he just happens to be an investigative wizard. The third player in this sad story is the one and only Catherine Jensen, otherwise known as the original pestilent barfly. She tried to ruin Charles Reed's life by making a serious accusation of aggravated assault. You know how Charlie kicked in her door and not only choked her out and beat her up, but then he ran away. And when you run, you have to use your legs, kind of like when you kick a door in. You have to use your legs, Officer Malarkey Bellotti. So Catherine Jensen, the original pestilent barfly, she picks up the phone and dials 911 to report the assault and says something like this. It says, "I've been assaulted by one Charles Reed. He beat me up and choked me. I want an officer out here." Well, who shows up other than Officer Malarkey Bellotti? And he takes the information and believes everything that he is told hook, line, and sinker. You know, this reminds me of the first rule of Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club, guys. Oh, I don't have to say it, do I? Well, the first rule of investigating as a cop is don't automatically believe everything the alleged victim says. It seems the only one who doesn't know that, even as a matter of common sense, is Officer Bellotti. How about we take a look at some of the reasons why? Number one is the alleged victim might have an axe to grind with the person who they're accusing. And I believe that might be the motive in this case. The second reason is because they might be under the influence of alcohol. The third is they might be under the influence of a drug. Number four is they might be under the influence of both. Reason number five is one that pretty much everybody other than Officer Bellotti would understand, and that is the series of events and their effect on the alleged victim are such that the victim would have an unbelievably difficult time recalling what actually happened. This is one of the main things that defense attorneys will attack in court, and with good reason. Number six is equally huge, and that is fear of retaliation. But what about number seven? There's even a greater fear, and that's the possibility that they would name names of acquaintances, friends, even family members. Well, that terrifies alleged victims. Why wouldn't it? Because they'd be ostracized, they'd be hated, and again, maybe even retaliated against. When it comes to that roadblock where I don't want to get my friends or others in trouble, I figured out a way to get around that and it was really effective. Maybe I'll share that in another video. These are 7 reasons, strictly off the top of my head, that can affect the accuracy of the information that is provided to law enforcement by the alleged victim. Yet, despite it all, our hero officer believed every word that she told him, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, that's right. One of the things I haven't brought up yet is that her report to this idiot was 9 months after the alleged incident. 9 frigging months. But it gets even worse. Why? It's because of her criminal history. It's extensive. And I mean for felonies as well as misdemeanors. And one of the things that would have popped up in her criminal history is she had a history of lying to police. A good defense attorney would have been able to impeach her testimony within 60 seconds. And what do you think that would have done as far as implanting reasonable doubt in the minds of every one of the jurors? But yet somebody from the prosecutor's office signed off on the arrest warrant based strictly on the information provided by the original pestilent barfly. About the only probable explanation that I can come up with is that Officer Hero there lied in his probable cause affidavit. I want to briefly touch on the things every investigator should do or shouldn't do when they interview an alleged victim. And other than some seasoned detectives, I wonder if the average patrol officer in this country has a clue on how to make that first approach with an alleged victim. Let me explain. The first thing to keep in mind is to show empathy. Secondly is do not apply undue pressure. Number 3 is give them time to think. And what's number 4? Avoid asking leading questions. I can't stress that enough. How about we take a look into the hero cop's brain, which shouldn't take long, as he calls Mr. Reed down to the police station to interrogate him and then serve the arrest warrant for aggravated assault, a serious felony. And what you all need to know, if you haven't watched the video, is that the hero cop never interviewed Mr. Reed prior to getting the arrest warrant. Let me repeat that. He never talked to Mr. Reed prior to getting an arrest warrant for a serious felony. Who does that? Now we know.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reed. My name is Officer Ballard. You're the one I've been emailing recently.
Yeah, all right.
Doing well. Give me a second. I'm gonna just read you something, and then I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. All right?
Great.
So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney and to have an attorney present during any questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you at government expense. Knowing and understanding your rights as I have explained them to you, are you willing to answer any questions without an attorney present?
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Reed, do you know a Catherine Elizabeth Jensen? Do you know where you were on about, I understand it's been about 9 months ago, but on the night of June 15th, 2024? How long have you been in your wheelchair?
Since I was 18.
Since you were 18?
5 years.
If you don't mind me asking, what's your condition?
Gunshot. I was robbed.
You were robbed?
Murdered. Yeah.
When and where did this happen?
In 2000, over by the pen.
By where?
By the federal pen,
The investigative wizard, the lead investigator of a case of aggravated assault that involved someone kicking in a door and then running away after the act. Kicking in a door and running away after the act. Holding an arrest warrant for a man who's in a wheelchair and is a paraplegic. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane before we close out the video. Hero Cop interviewed a known criminal who had lied to police in the past regarding an incident that had occurred 9 months previously. He then believed every word that she said and parlayed that into securing an arrest warrant. And prior to securing an arrest warrant, he failed to interview Mr. Reed, who came down to the police station completely clueless. How would you feel if that happened to you? But you know what? I'm still not done, because there's one last travesty, and let me show you what it is. Hero Cop is conducting the interrogation of Mr. Reed in the public lobby of a police station with a member of the public within earshot. Who does that? Now we know.